Welcome to the Smart Thinking Podcast. This is my dad, Ted.
Welcome to the Smart Thinking Podcast. I'm your host, Ted Neitzke. A few weeks ago, I received an email from a friend of mine who said, Ted, spring break begins in a few days. I need some books. And it made me realize, well, this morning, I forgot to do the book episode before spring break. So here is your post-spring break book episode. Or maybe for those of you who have not yet gone on spring break, here's your pre-spring break book episode. I was flying back from a trip with my family where I got to visit my daughter, be with my son, my brother Tom, and my wife Megan when I was reading a few texts and realized that I need to share these texts with you to help you grow as a leader. Now, before I get into the books, let's remember a few things about ourselves. Number one, we are all leaders, and a leader is anyone with influence over another person. And the books I'm going to share with you are going to influence how you think, your mindset, how you act, how you lead, and finally, maybe help you help others. So, as leaders, we also do one thing that is very, very important, and that is make sure that we run into the storms that we face. We model every single day the actions that others need to take, and we do that with a sense of optimism, always believing that we can do it through our own perseverance, and tenaciously by standing up for those around us to ensure that they can be successful. We also lead with empathy. Every single opportunity to try to figure out what we need to do different in order to support others. And we end our days with a reflection, asking ourselves what went well and what would we change about today if we had that opportunity tomorrow. So let's get into the books. I've got 6 texts for you, and I'm going to start out with one by an author, Ryan Holiday. Holiday is both a philosopher, a historian. I don't know. He just seems like somebody, if I had the opportunity to go sit down and have a beer with and talk, I would really find myself in a very empowering position because of just the way he writes, the way he thinks, and his messages. This book is called Discipline is Destiny. It's by Ryan Holiday. Now, I love history, and then when you combine it with leadership, well, I just basically lose my mind. And then when it's written by a philosopher who makes you think all of the time, well, it's a very empowering text. Now, one of the things I really like about Ryan Holiday's books is they're little, short, chubby books that look thick, but they actually read very quickly. And I also like reading them because, like poetry, you can read one chapter, walk away from the book for a really long time, and come back and read the next. This book on discipline is broken down into 3 parts. The first part is the body, ruling over the body, attacking the dawn, the strenuous life is the best. Each part is broken down into these miniature sections, and I just love them. And in part 2, which is the inner domain, the temperament, he talks about some of our vices and things that we need to do better for ourselves, like perfection is a vice, and do the hard things first, and can you get back up and fight the provocations. It's a really, really good book. And the third part is the soul. Tolerant with others, strict with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Now, as I went through the book, I just found all these really, really cool little sayings and reflections for myself. What he does really greatly is he gives you historical perspective, puts it in a context, and makes you think, like a philosophy class. The first one that I really, really liked, it was the simple idea of attacking the dawn, being up, getting ready to go. And here's exactly what he quotes in here, which was a great way to start your day. Wake up, show up, be present, and give it everything you've got. What I really like about that is the simplicity of it all, but really a mind frame for when you get out of bed and what you need to do. As the text goes on, I found myself just pulling all of these really strong little quotes out. Like in the section that perfectionism is a vice. As they say, another way to spell perfectionism is paralysis. I do find that a lot of people I work with who cannot move forward on a process or a big idea until they have all the details, until they've perfected the process or the SOP, they really find themselves in a position where they don't take many risks. And I loved what the book said about it. The other section that I really, really liked is do the hard thing first. I find myself looking for reinforcement. When I create a to-do list, I learned a trick a few years ago, and what I really liked about Ryan Holiday in here is that in do the hard things first, it reinforced my strategy that I learned about doing to-do lists. When I create a to-do list, I go back through the to-do list and I rank them of most important and most work to do to get it done. And I do those things first. I learned that as a trick for both mindfulness, success, optimism, and feeling accomplished. In Do the Hard Thing First, in this section, what I really appreciated was don't wait, don't tell yourself you'll warm up to it, don't tell yourself you'll get this other stuff out of the way, and then, no, now what you should do is you should do it now. Do it first, and that's called prioritization. Get it over with. And, most importantly, you do that in an effort for self-care. I never really thought of it that way until I read it in the context of his text of if you get through your work and get it all done, you are actually demonstrating self-care, which weirdly is the whole next book we're going to talk about. But before we get through this, I really want you to think about this section of the text. Tolerant with others, strict with yourself. I really want to talk about this word tolerant because tolerant and tolerance is a word that I learned in college in the context of understanding, accepting, and empathizing, all at the same time, all under the umbrella of tolerance. Getting to know, understand, and empathize with the people around you, and being strict with yourself, which is why you need to be tolerant, he says, even generous with people. Anything else is unfair. It's also counterproductive to not be tolerant. And it doesn't mean to put up with, it means to seek understanding and support them. And what I love about this book is when he puts in here, in the same text about tolerant with others, we're on our own journey, and yes, it is a strict and difficult one, but we understand that others are on their own path, doing the best they can, making the most of what they have been given. It's not our place to judge. It's our place to cheer them on and accept them. This book is filled with hundreds of little philosophical reflections like that. It's called Discipline is the Destiny by Ryan Holiday, and I highly recommend it, which leads me into the next text. And as always, I'm giving you the texts in order of how I would read them to grow on your own, in your leadership, for yourself, so that you're better for others. So the first text is Discipline with Destiny. The second text, this author is somebody who I wish I could hang around with. I feel like she is like the sister I never had. Just optimistic, honest, candid, curt, frank, real. Her name is Mel Robbins. Maybe you've heard of her. If you haven't, you have now, and you need to listen to her podcast. But you also need to read her book. Her book is called The Let Them Theory. And what I love about it is just take anything that's bothering you and add let them to the front of it. These people are constantly criticizing me. Let them criticize you. These people are constantly judging me. Let them criticize you. It's basically a fantastic text on how not to care so much about all the things that you think are important for you to understand or you to advocate for. There's so many tips in this text that I need you to understand so that you can live forward as a Buffalo leader. And the reason I need you to read this book is because she gives you the formula to have the courage to stand up to the narratives in your own mind and get yourself started. The very first page goes into this idea of what you need to do in order to just simply move yourself forward. And she calls it the 5-second rule. And basically what that is as you're trying to get things going or you want to do something and you're like, I don't know. Just count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop whatever the heck you're doing and start doing whatever you need to do. I also love it because this is allowing you to think about your problems that you will never solve if you never apply a process, because we will constantly procrastinate on and on and on. This book is just filled with phenomenal different things, and I learned about it from an Instagram post from my niece, a college student at Michigan State University, where she said, this book changed my life. So I was like, I need to read that. And in here, the let them theory is basically this. Instead of driving yourself crazy trying to manage or please other people, you'll learn to let them do whatever it is they want to do. That's what Mel Robbins goes through in the entire book. Now, I'm skipping ahead throughout this text because there were so many sections I really liked, like overcoming chronic comparison. Yeah, life isn't fair. Basically, let it not be fair, get over it, and keep moving. And this quote here, the more you let people be who they are, the better your relationships will be. One of my favorite sections in this book is something that I think about a lot as an aging guy, and that is friendships. I find that I have a lot of collegial relationships, but I don't have a lot of friendships. So sometimes I start to think to myself, like, is that weird? Am I weird? Am I a problem? And then I started to read the facts that adult friendships are different and you have to approach them different. And then I started to really analyze what type of friendships I have. And this book really helped me think about it, frame it, and put it in the context of, maybe they are normal. She talks about the 3 pillars of what friendships are, because I think a lot of people are constantly frustrated or wondering, like, where do I stand with others? So what are the 3 friendship pillars? The first pillar of friendship is proximity. Proximity means how often you are physically near them. The second pillar of friendship is timing. And timing refers to the chapter of life you are in right now. I like to call it the season of life. But the third pillar, which I really like as well, is the energy. You either click with some people or you don't. And is the energy they're giving you, is it on or off? It's a great question because I've seen all different types of pieces. Like, if people don't call you, are they your friends? If you never see them, are they your friends? What should you do with your friends? Well, let them be who they want to be. And then you decide what you're going to be. The let them theory is fantastic. Now, a couple of other great parts of this book. Chapter 14. People only change when they feel like it. I love how she frames this. I love what she talks about in this text, in this chapter, and how she discusses the simple fact that you cannot change people. They have to change themselves. I used to have a colleague who said to me one time, "Ted, we are not in the business of rehabilitating a-holes." And it made me think sometimes, like, well, are we quitting on them? Are we giving up on them? But now, as I've aged and matured a little bit in my own leadership and understanding of human behavior, I really believe what she says in here, which is that people only change when they feel like it. It is not our job to rehabilitate others. It's our job to support others, lead others, and model for others. But at the end of the day, like Mel Robbins says, let them be. Let them be who they are. Let people learn from life. Don't shield them from the consequences of what they choose. If somebody says, I don't really want to get a job, okay, well, how are you going to pay your rent? There are lots of things that we can do to help people meet the challenges of life by not shielding them from the challenges of life. This often happens in the realm of addiction with loved ones. We have to let people deal with the pain of losing a job or losing a partner because they're addicted to some substance. Don't try to run in and make it all better. When we let people face the real-world consequences of the choices they make, they hopefully learn from them. That's what it means to let them. Those are her words, and they're powerful. And the book, again, is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. It is a fantastic text. I think it's a really good text to read as a leadership team and understanding of people and behaviors, and most importantly, how to support people through their strengths in an effort to make them understand what they need to do. And while you're doing that, you let them be. Okay, third book. Now, this is new for me. I actually know the author. I've known the author for 2 decades. He and I have been pretty good friends. And weirdly, as I read the book, I remember almost every one of these little chapters of his life as he describes them in his text. The author's name is Aaron Sadoff. Aaron Sadoff is a former superintendent of schools of the year in the state of Wisconsin. He's been a really close friend of mine. He's now the president of a university in the state of Wisconsin, and his book is called MindCraft. MindCraft is all about positive thinking. Aaron Sadoff is somebody who makes me look like I am actually decaffeinated. Aaron's positivity through life, his mindset, his optimism, the way he looks at the world, all of his fun little sayings, his inability to be pushed down and held down, make him pretty remarkable. And when you read the book, it's one of these texts where you'll read it very quickly and it will be very impactful. And the reason that it's impactful is because it's the art of positive thinking right now. MindCraft. I love it. The foreword by Sean Aker, the orange frog guy, really explains very well how positive Aaron is and what the impact is of being around a guy like Aaron. So here, let's get into the text. This book is filled with wonderful little stories that will help guide you through how to maintain a positive mindset through Aaron's own experiences, whether those are his experiences becoming friends with a man in prison, whether those are his experiences in the military, his experience as a superintendent or a father or a friend. Every one of the different areas that he tackles is relevant to who you are personally, and no matter what you do. The mindsets found within the text are pretty powerful. And what I really like about Aaron is how he broke it down into the different parts of his book. Now, without giving the whole thing away, which I'm becoming dangerously close to by telling you all the stories, what I want you to do is I want you to think about his MindCraft formula. I'm going to focus on one of them because Aaron and I were on a parallel journey when he really started to share this get-to mindset. In chapter 4, he goes into the happiness first mindset, which is that you get to be in the position you're in. You get to be where you are today. It really helped me frame things. And years back, I had brought Aaron in to be a keynote speaker in front of my staff, and he did a fantastic job by talking about two things. What do you get to do today, and how much do you matter? And this book does all of that. What I love about it is it talks about how you can collaborate to get to a better mindset, the ABCs of MindCraft, and that you are ultimately in control of your own journey. Now, I'm a little biased here because I know Aaron, and when I read the book, it was the first time I ever heard the author's voice in my head because I knew him, and I highly recommend the book. It is available on Amazon and everywhere else you buy books, but MindCraft, I see you, we are better together, judge good, and get to, and be sure. There are fantastic different pieces and ideas that will help you build a positive mindset as you move forward. So again, we go from philosophy to application to mindset. And now let's go to process. This book was sent to me in a photo by my friend Bob. Same guy who inspired me to write the book I'm writing right now. But Bob wrote me and said, you need to read this book. Best book I've read this year. The book is called Radical Humility, and it's by Koenig. It is fantastic. It is, I can't say enough of this book because I actually have read it now twice and I'm going on my third time. It's one of the texts where as I was reading it the first time, I was kind of distracted with what was going on in life. So I was reading a few chapters, taking some notes and moving forward. But I found myself wanting to go back to the book. So I read it a second time. And the second time I read the book, I read it in the context of my own life and my own leadership. And then the third time I read the book on how to share and make tools out of this text to support others as they lead. This book is filled with all different ways to approach radical humility. Be a badass leader and a good human being. That's what the book is titled. And basically, when you read this text, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a way to be a better collaborator and a better person. You're going to get ways to support others and grow yourself. You're going to get the opportunity to humble yourself by seeking feedback and input from other people in new ways and regularly. I'm going to give 3 seasons of leadership and why you should read this book. The first season of leaders who should read this book are early leaders. This is like a master's class in how to approach being a leader. It gives you the processes, the SOPs, the diagrams, the language, all you will need in order as a young leader. And when I say young, new to a formal leadership role leader, this gives you the opportunity to really take a chance on growing yourself and how you view the world. Some of us have been mentored and modeled by really strong leaders. Some of us have been mentored and modeled by really poor leaders. But all of us have the opportunity to grow. And this text will help you grow, especially as an early leader. Now, if you're a mid-leader in your life, in the middle of your leadership world, 10, 15 years into it, this is a phenomenal review. This will allow you to iterate to be better for everyone. It will put you in a position to grow stronger. And finally, it will help you through process to get out of what might be some stagnant cycles of your own leadership and understanding of how to grow forward. Now, if you're late in leadership, guy like me, in year almost 30 of education, in year 20 of formal titled leadership, this book is filled with opportunities for personal improvement and the ability to stay relevant. He gives you so many different pieces of advice in here. It's phenomenal. Now, what I love about the book is he broke it down into different shifts. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 go on throughout an introduction to help you understand his mindset and where he comes from. But then shift 1 is how to dig deep. Shift 2 is tough on results, tender on people. Shift 3 is lead like a compass. Shift 4 is full transparency. And shift 5, champion of fearless culture. What I love about the text, and I hope you can hear me turning the pages, What I love about the text is that I've murdered this book with ink. I've got Post-its everywhere. Here's one of my favorite tables that he puts in here. Are you feedback or feed forward? Now, feedback is assessing the past. Judgment can be hard to give and receive, look back to learn, or best when specific and behavioral. Feed forward, well, listen to this. Instead of assessing the past, you're looking for suggestions for the future. Instead of judgment, good or bad, no judgment, only suggestions. Instead of can be hard to give and receive, easy to give and receive. Look back to learn or look ahead to do better. There are so many little wisdom nuggets in this book, these tables, the different processes, the reflection exercises. I mean, I absolutely love it. I was never a big fan of 360 evaluation processes because sometimes what ended up happening was it just seemed to be a dumping ground, an opportunity to take a shot at people without any suggestions until I read his idea of how to successfully frame a 360 process. So if you work with me, get ready because I put together an entire 360 tool that I'll be willing to share with anyone that will support you in the application of your strengths as well as identifying your blind spots. A few years ago, I read a book that he referenced in here. The book is The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, A Life Transformed by the Dearly Departing. It was a book written by a hospice nurse who interviewed people in hospice. And one of the things that she wrote is that one of the top 5 regrets is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. So many of us are trapped in a social narrative driven by other people of what we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to be, or we're haunted by things that were said to us by our parents or family members or friends or colleagues. He breaks down processes in here so that you can get to what you want to be and where you need to be. I mean, friends, we only have one life, so let's live it. His text is filled with these great reflective activities. It is filled with these great reflective questions. It is filled with great processes. It is filled with QR codes that allow you to download everything so that you can read the text and just simply hand out one or two of the ideas. It's got a great quiz so that you can figure out where do you fall on your humbleness as a leader. One of my favorite ones in here was Now Leadership, Analyzing a Recent Failure. It reminds me a lot of In Good to Great with the idea of an autopsy without blame, but I don't remember any processes being shared, and he shares a process. So pick a mistake or a failure that happened in your team over the last month, and then ask yourself, what kind of failure was it? What was the cause? How did we celebrated it? How productive was our response? Now share this failure framework with your team and lead a discussion around how to respond to failures productively. I will share the failure framework with my team on blank. Now, here's what I like about it. Everything he talks about in here holds you personally accountable for your own success. Every process, every framework, every idea is all about what are you going to do in order to support yourself and others on their journey to success. And basically, if I were to boil this whole book down, it is a book filled with frameworks and ideas about putting other people first. Okay, second to last book, Meditations for Mortals. 4 weeks to embrace your limitations and make time for what counts. It's a reflective exercise book by Oliver Burkeman, and I love it. My friend Mark told me about it, and he said, hey, I'm going to try this, and I'll tell you what I think about it when the book is done. And I thought to myself, well, no, I'm going to order it now, and I'm going to do this with you on the journey. This book is basically exactly what it says. It's 4 weeks to embrace your limitations. And what it is it's daily reflective exercises to help you meditate around who you are and who you want to be, how you act and how you lead. Week 1 is about being finite. And on day 4, there's a reflective exercise or meditation here called Against Productivity Debt on the Power of a Done List. And I really appreciate that idea because it came up before and it will come up again. On day 5, too much information. Day 9, finish things. Day 13, 3 hours on finding focus in your day throughout the chaos. Day 16, the reverse golden rule on not being your own worst enemy. Each of these reflective exercises allowed me to start out my day by really thinking, what am I going to do here for myself so that I can be the best version for others? Day 21, what's an interruption anyway? The importance of staying distractible. I like that one a lot. because I'd say I'm a pretty highly distractible human being. And day 28, What Matters? On Finding Your Way. And that was the last one, and I loved it. Now, I don't want to go into this book too much because it would kind of wreck it to tell you the different ways to meditate for mortals. But I will tell you right now, 4 weeks to embrace your limitations and make time for what counts is really helpful. Because what it allowed me to do as a self-proclaimed busy person is really reflect upon where am I putting my time, how am I using my time, and am I doing what's best for me so that I can grow forward as a leader. And that's why you need to read this book, Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. Okay, last book, a kid's book, because I started introducing kids' books. And guess what? It's my book, Duke Storm. If you haven't read it, get it, please, because I am loving all the feedback I'm getting from across the country from the different classrooms and different leaders who have used the text. I received a note a few weeks ago from a fire chief who had bought the text after I got to meet him and his team at a fire chief's conference, and he shared with me that they now use the metaphor and analogy in their department to ensure that people remember that no matter what is going on, we always have to run to our storms. Okay, a little shameless self-promotion here to end our series of books, but like I said, I always put them in order for you to read, and many people, especially my friends, have been texting me, Ted, I'm so happy you wrote a book that I can read start to finish. It is only 20 pages. Readers are leaders and leaders are readers. I want you to remember that. One of the things that's disheartening to me a lot of the times is when I go work with leadership groups or when I work with parent groups or even student groups and I ask them how many books do they read a month. And the majority of time, the majority of people put 0. Friends, we're spending too much time in front of the blue screen, in front of our computers, in front of our tablets, in front of our phones. Step away. I know that some of you listen to audio texts and many of you listen to podcasts, as evidenced by you listening to this one, but I really need you to stop and think about what is the power of giving yourself a half hour a day to just sit down and read a book. Whether that be a fictional text, a non-fictional text, a leadership book, or just a book for entertainment, but just to step back and read what it does for your brain and what it does for your body. You know, when you read, there's some great science behind what happens. The ability for your brain to have more blood flow, the ability for your heart rate to drop, the ability for you to calm down, the ability for you to process, the ability for you to think, for you to reflect, and for you to grow. And that's, frankly, what you need to do, because Buffalo leaders do not have time to sit around and wait for these things to happen to them, because they don't happen to you. They won't even happen for you unless you put in the effort and the time to grow. So right now, hang up on this podcast. Did I just say hang up on a podcast? Can you actually hang up on a podcast? What am I, from the 80s? Wait, I am from the 80s. Click off on this podcast and grab a book. So let's do some smart thinking. Unless, of course, you clicked off. But if you did click off, you wouldn't even know that. Okay, anyways. Describe for me different ways in which you can apply text to support your own leadership. List books from the list that you will go off and get and you will read. And finally, what is one book that you could send me that I could grow and learn from? Ted at CESA6.org. CESA6.org. Send me a book that you're reading. Send me a book that you love. Send me lists of texts. I love them. And I think Amazon loves me. That's it. That's the Smart Thinking Podcast. Hey, as always, thank you for listening. And please make sure to share this episode with others. Get as many of these books as you can and grow yourself forward. Also, thank you for helping me help others by sharing this podcast and helping put me in a position to help you learn and grow each week when we get together. And lastly, thank you to the Well Pennies for their awesome music. And that leads me to the last thing that I'm going to do here, which is this. I want you to look up the band Inhaler and their most recent album, which is entitled Open Wide. And the album is phenomenal. The band Inhaler is an Irish rock band, and I fell in love with them. And weirdly, I fell in love with them not knowing something. You see, my daughter took me to the concert down in Chicago this past fall, and we went and saw Inhaler, and it was after I had learned that this band's lead singer is, well, he's related to somebody who I really, really like. And his dad's name is Bono. And when I went to the concert, I thought, oh my gosh. It was the same feeling I had had when I had seen the band U2 in 1985, before they were a huge global hit, and fell in love with them. The The band Inhaler is fantastic. I'll drop it onto my Spotify Smart Thinking Podcast playlist for you to listen to if you don't have access to it in other places. All right, friends. I couldn't play their music because I don't have the copyright ability to do that. It probably cost me $1 million to play one of their songs, and the podcast is not that financially successful yet. It's all mindset. Okay. Have a great week. Grab one of the texts and do me a favor. Find a way to help another leader. Look for the opportunity this week to see someone who is emerging, growing, struggling, or in need of different tips and tools so that they can be the best version of themselves as a leader. Because that's what we do. We're Buffalo leaders, and we charge into the storms that we face every single day. And we model for others, we provide for others, and most importantly, we give people the tools that they need in order to be successful. Because no buffalo on its own just decided to run into the storm. It saw someone, watched someone, got courage from someone, and took the first step as a result of that friendship.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, in everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. You know I love you so. You know I love you so. I swam across, I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line, I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do, my love. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. You know I beat myself dry. For you I beat myself dry. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for. Look how they shine for you. Oh, look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And all the things that you do.